ready for the next episode. Can't wait to get home and turn my TV on. I'm ready for the next episode. Got my snack shoes off, my remote control. I'm ready for the next episode.
Hi guys, and welcome to Next Episode with your host Nick.
And I'm Jess.
And today we're going to be talking about White Lotus Season 1 only because we're late to the White Lotus train and we are starting from the very beginning. And actually, I didn't know a lot about the show. Did you know what the show was about before you started?
No, I had no clue. I heard everyone was saying that it was good, but I didn't know what it was about.
Yeah, also. I only knew that it was about a hotel. And I know that they were having, they had 3 different seasons, but I didn't know what the show was honestly going to be about. But I did spend 13 years in hospitality management. So I tend to stay away from hotel shows, but I thought, okay, I'll give this one a chance.
Yeah, that's how I am with hospital shows. I completely get it. Yeah. Unless it's Scrubs, I'm not doing it.
I do love Scrubs.
Mm-hmm.
So to give an overview of the show, at least of season 1, because that's all that we know. This show takes place in a resort in Hawaii, and you're following 3 sets of VIP guests.
Yes.
Does that sound right?
That sounds right. Mm-hmm.
And so if I had to say something that all 3 sets of guests have in common, in addition to all being fairly wealthy, they are also fairly miserable.
Yes. No,
fairly miserable people, which is funny because one group is a family who's going on a big vacation.
Mm-hmm.
One group is a couple on their honeymoon. And then the last one is a lady by herself whose mom has passed away and she's trying to honor her last wishes by throwing her ashes in the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the character that I would like to start our discussion of the show with. So she came alone to the White Lotus.
She did.
Okay, so her name is Tanya, and we don't know how she got her wealth. Was it ever explained?
No, it wasn't ever explained. And not that I remember. I just assumed she came from money.
I do think that she came from money, but she might have acquired more money, through marriages and things like that. But yeah, her wealth is not explained.
Yeah.
But from the moment you meet her, she's kind of miserable.
Oh, wow. But I mean, at least she's in mourning, so you kind of understand. She's not going to be happy. But it does feel deeper than that.
Right. I was going to say, if her mother was alive and she took this same trip, I think she would have still been miserable because she made comments about how she was unlucky in love and lonely. And in general, her life was not happy. I think her mother's death complicated an already unhappy life, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
And so one of the first things I noticed from Tanya is that she's someone who pushes boundaries.
Mm-hmm. She has no boundaries. She has no boundaries at all. I don't even think she's aware that she's pushing them. I think she just does whatever she wants to do. And she's a bit invasive in other people's space.
Exactly, because so as soon as she gets off the boat, because the VIPs arrive via boat, which I thought was interesting. So as soon as she gets off the boat, she starts asking the hotel manager, where she can get a massage, and he introduces her to Belinda, who is the spa manager. And Belinda's like, oh, there's no appointments, everything's booked up, and she's just insistent on getting a massage. And I can understand if your body is hurting and things like that, but at the same time, if there's no appointments, to me my next thing would be okay, am I able to have someone come in and give me a massage? Like, can I get a massage in my room? Like, instead of just like literally hounding the spa manager as if you don't know how appointments work.
Girl, and I think, like I said, I think she'd never been told no before. You know, she's used to her money being able to get her whatever she wants.
Right. And so Belinda does decide to do like something special for her. She doesn't like give her a massage, but she's like, oh, let's do a consultation and I'll give you, what does she call it? A cranial sacrum?
I don't know, but it seemed like Reiki to me. That's what it reminded me of.
Well, but the lady said anything but Reiki, so I don't think it was Reiki. Yeah, she's like, I'll take anything. It doesn't have to
she
be.
Didn't touch her, right?
Wasn't she doing something to her head though? It was like a cranial sacrum something. And so I honestly, this was the beginning of the end of good things happening for Belinda, being nice to that woman. Yeah. And so Belinda, she does like this consultation. And so she's talking to this woman and it almost turns into like a counseling session. Mm-hmm. And then she's like doing this like cranial sacrum head scratch thing with her. And she's singing like this like Hindu chant, or was a Sanskrit chant. It was some sort of like chant. Now, when I say the first time I watched the show, I was like, man, that looks nice. And like honestly, like the chant is really beautiful and it is very calming. Like I'm like, man, that is really, really nice. Like I would let somebody do that to me.
I feel like Belinda just has a calming presence. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I can see how just like her whole essence kind of would like calm you down. But yeah, that woman did absolutely still kind of took advantage and made it her own therapy session.
She's a healer. But you can tell Belinda is a healer. Mm-hmm. Like you said, like she is a calming presence, but she just has, it's just like you can tell like she makes people better by being around them. Like she has the essence of a healer. And I honestly feel like Tanya felt that energy and was like, I'm about to siphon off as much of that energy from her as possible.
Yeah, no, it was definitely parasitic in nature. Like, yeah, it definitely was. From the beginning.
And so, okay. So Tanya ends up telling Belinda, you know, that she really loves her services and she thinks that she's really amazing and that she thinks that she should have her own business and she would love to help her with that. Mm-hmm. How soon after those words left her lips did you know it was yes?
I was like, she is not going to do it. She's not going to follow through. Or I was like, either she's not going to follow through. And it's not because she don't have money. She has plenty of money to even just waste. You know what I mean? I was like, or she's going to take over. You know, she's either going to make it all about her or be really controlling with it or something like that. But I was like, Belinda, you do need to start your own business, but this ain't the way.
I agree. I do think that Belinda does need her own wellness center, but I knew as soon as Tanya said it was BS. And I knew it wouldn't even come to fruition. I knew there was because she is flighty. Mm-hmm. She's very flighty. And so I knew she wouldn't even stick with Belinda long enough to have Belinda create it and then steal it from her. Mm-hmm. She mentally, she doesn't even have like that much in her to let it come to fruition. So I was like, come on now. Mm-hmm. Come on, Belinda.
This is a character, the Daigle in front of her to keep taking her time and attention.
Yes. And so this starts her monopolizing Belinda's time. Mm-hmm. And so when you work in hospitality, you work long days and you spend the day giving of yourself and meeting other people's needs. And I can imagine because I worked corporate, I can imagine resorts are at an even higher level. The level of service, and you're wanting to create those special moments, those magic moments, have those impacts because people are there like on vacation. And so you're already having to give of yourself. But Tanya literally was monopolizing all of Belinda's off time. Like basically like forcing her to have dinner with her.
Mm-hmm.
At one point, Tanya decides that she wants to drop her mom's ashes in the ocean, and she like convinces Belinda to get off work early to go on this boat trip with her. Mind you, all of this is unpaid.
Yeah.
All of
Yeah.
this extra
And pulls her
time,
away from her actual job.
right?
It's
It's
either it's
unpaid
either
labor.
it's either pulling her away from her actual job, or it's after hours where she would be off in this unpaid labor.
Hmm. And she's using her to make herself feel good, and she talks about being lonely and not wanting to have a man with her, and she talks about like her mom, and you can like when Tanya talks about her mom, you can tell that yes, she had a rough childhood growing up. There was
Mm-hmm.
a lot of abuse, there was a lot of neglect. Her mom was not a good mother to
Mm-hmm.
her, and so it's not that I don't understand why Tanya has those deficits.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, like, at what point are you accountable enough to say, I understand how these deficits were created, but I need to do the work to fix them?
Yeah. Yeah. And she has the resources to fix them, quite honestly.
She
Yeah,
does.
she has the resources to get all the help that she needs. But yeah, she likes to, and she says it at some point. At some point, she basically says that she attaches herself to people.
She
You know.
does. She does. She does. But here's the thing. You can tell that she's also one of those people who who float from like spiritual practice to
Mm-hmm.
try to like make themselves feel better without actually doing the deep work for change.
Mm-hmm.
Because even like in the way that she speaks, she said something about in like she made reference to past lives. She was like,
Mm-hmm.
well, she's like, maybe I think she either said something like, maybe I want to do this in my next life, or she's like, I think this in one of my past lives. And she
Mm-hmm.
knows about all the like she knows about Reiki. She knows about all of these like different spiritual practices and different spiritual paths, and I'm quite sure she's tried a lot of them, but on a superficial level.
Mm-hmm.
You can
Yeah.
tell she's very superficial. Even I did laugh. I'm not gonna lie. I did laugh. So when Belinda was giving her like that first treatment, like the sacral cranial, whatever it was, and Belinda starts chanting, and she starts chanting with her, and Belinda's like, "Oh, you don't have to do that part." She's like, "Oh, but I want to," and it's like it's just like
Jennifer's
she just
voice is
wants.
amazing. I love her voice.
I do too. I do too. I'm like, she just wants to participate.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's what she wants. It's very superficial. Like, and she wonders why her life doesn't get better.
Mm-hmm.
She says that she uses money to control people
And
to
she
get the
does.
things and she does. And so you're self-aware of
Mm-hmm.
what you're doing, yet
Yeah.
you're continuing to do it.
Right. Because even when, so like she drops Belinda like a bad habit when she meets a man, right? But she's still using her money to get to dangle in front of the man. You know what I mean? Like he
Yes.
kind of, I don't know, he's kind of weird. He kind of goes in and out. Like I'm kind of confused with him because I was like, you are at this super expensive resort, but it don't seem like you on the financial level of these other
I have
people.
I have my theories, and I'm but I'll
Okay.
you
So when he kind of disappears and then comes back, and then she wants to go to another resort, and so she's like, "Oh, I can pay for it." I think I'm like, I can't remember. She said she can get a plane or something, but it's very clear she's like communicating. I have money. Come with me.
right. So, because I have watched so many different TV shows, like I recently did a Lost rewatch. Um, there
Oh, I have
is
that in me.
there's a show called Imposters. Did you ever see Imposters?
I'm not sure.
It's about
I'm
like
vaguely
con
familiar.
artists. It's about
Oh,
like this
is
woman
it
who
only
was
like 2 seasons? Yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
It's also about con artists. There's a couple of other shows I've
Hmm.
watched recently. about con
Like
artists.
Imposters. I was sad there was no third season.
Right. I did enjoy Imposters a lot too. When she met him, I immediately got uncomfortable. There was something about it was something about the way that they met.
Mm-hmm.
It reminded me of Sawyer from Lost. Like, I don't know if you like, he was a con artist and you watched
Mm-hmm.
him like con women out of money. And
Mm-hmm.
there was a couple of con artists in that show. But you watched him con women, like, and she's like a lonely rich woman,
Yeah.
and just meeting this random guy, the way that she met him,
Mm-hmm.
and like, I'm like, I immediately got uncomfortable. And so then I'm watching more, and this woman is a nutcase. And she is. And this guy is like, oh no, I like how crazy you are. And he's also coughing a lot and
Yeah.
pretending to be like, I'm not saying pretending to be sick, but I'm just like, he's like, oh yeah, I'm deathly ill and I just
Mm-hmm.
want to love you. I'm just like, this is all weird to me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't trust him.
Mm-hmm.
So
Oh no, he's not to be trusted at all.
I
Mm-mm.
don't
I agree.
know. Like, so, okay, so season 2 of White Lotus, like, I finished season 1, and then, automatically season 2 started, and they were in Italy, and there were different people on the boat. None of the people from the first season were on the boat, so then I turned it off.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm like,
What's going on?
what is going on? So, like, overarching, I still don't really understand the show, because I'm like, I don't know any of those people on this boat, so I turned it off. So I don't know, like, if we ever like find out if they like happily ever after like end up together, but I don't trust him.
Oh no, I don't trust him either. And I think for the most part, and I haven't watched the other seasons either, I think we will see Tanya. Is it Tanya or Tanya again?
Mm-hmm.
And we'll see Belinda again. But I think the rest of those characters it's going to be new people each season.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
So we don't find out what happens to the other people?
I don't know. I don't know that for certain, but I do think it's different guests each season.
Oh, okay.
At least that's my guess, because I haven't watched it, but I think that's the premise. Because like when I tried to, because I told you I kept trying to look up the cast, and it kept bringing season 3, which is completely different people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's what I think is going on.
Okay. So in the end, basically, Tanya. When did we start calling her Tanya? Is her name Tanya? I have a friend named Tanya.
Yeah, I do. So I was like, look, is it Tanya or Tanya?
I think her name is Tanya, and I think we started calling her Tanya because of our friend named Tanya. But so Tanya, like, basically after monopolizing all of Belinda's time and getting her to do all of these like sessions with her and like having Belinda counsel her and lift her up, she basically dinners, all of these things, like, and this is the thing. So yes, like, these dinners may be nice, but they're resort food, and she works at the resort. She's had this food before. Right. You're not giving her anything special.
Yeah. And I'm like, to me, I'm like, I would be uncomfortable. Like, I don't know. It just seems like it's crossing the line and crossing the boundary. I would be uncomfortable as a person who worked there, having dinner with the guests and then going back. Like, it just feels weird.
It is. You are supposed to keep a certain distance from the guests. It's like you make the guests feel like they're closer to you than they actually are. Like, you want to like create those connections. You want them to feel friendly, and you want them to want to come back, and but at the same time, you're supposed to keep a certain amount of distance.
Yeah.
It just makes sense. Now, I have worked at hotels where we've had long-term guests, and I mean guests who have been there months. And you do develop friendships. You really do. You really do. Some people, you see the same people week after week after week. Even if they go home, they come in and they're here 2 to 3 times. You have some people who are literally here for months and months and months straight. And so, yeah, you do develop some friendships, but it's to a certain point.
Right.
It's to a certain point. And like, for example, honestly, like if you met someone who was a guest and they were investing, like wanting to invest in a business or start a business with you, like that is nothing you would ever discuss on property.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing.
Mm-mm.
Because very easily she could have lost her job.
Right. Right.
And I don't think Tanya thought about that for a second. She literally like met Belinda and kind of made her like her personal assistant
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
without the pay,
Right. Tanya never had a job. She doesn't
No,
consider stuff like that.
she doesn't.
And she certainly doesn't think about other people, how things affect other people.
So in the end, of course, Tanya backs out on the deal. She does give her a wad of cash to make herself feel better.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to know how much cash it was.
I want to know how much cash it was, and I don't know why she shoved it in that drawer. Because here's the thing: as hurt as I might have been, that cash would have went in my purse. I might have went home early that day just to make sure I could put that cash in the bank. Because I'm not playing with you. I'm gonna get something out this week.
Absolutely. I was like, don't put that. Because I have gotten some like, I was not someone who got tipped very often in the like industry because I was one, a manager, and two, it was more of like a corporate environment. But there were times when I got like $100 tip, $150 tip. I didn't tell anybody. I didn't tell anybody.
Girl.
I put that in my that was me. They didn't say, oh, this is for y'all. They were like, you have been so amazing. You have been so sweet. Thank you for helping me with this problem. Like, and so, no, that went straight into my pocket.
No, as it should. Absolutely. I'm still kind of mad. Like, please don't do this whole self-sacrificing thing right now. No, Belinda, put that money in your purse.
I think that goes along with her healing nature, that desire to put other people first and sacrifice.
Girl, no.
I couldn't believe Belinda told her son about it. So I'm like, oh, you really took that seriously?
She did, though. You can tell, like, when she starts crying at the end when she realizes that it's not going to happen, she was heartbroken. Like, that's been a long-term dream for her. And for that to become to, like, a possibility, no, she really did believe her. And I mean, and as much as, like, because she's actually an employee and this woman is, like, encroaching on her time, she's bothered, she still was very genuine with her.
Yes. I guess, like, once again, I'm looking at it through the eyes of someone who spent way too long in hospitality. Like, people are always offering you things that they do not mean. Like, oh my gosh, you're so amazing. You should come and work for me. And like all of these different things, I'm going to send a letter and let them know how wonderful. Those letters never come. Like, I'm like, guests will tell you anything to make themselves feel better with how much they encroached on you as a person, because they are always pushing the line and always asking, always needing like things that are outside of the realm of normal. There's a certain amount of things that you are expected to do, and like that's service. That's the whole point. But there is always many people who are asking you to go above and beyond of what is normal and will willing to create problems for other people to have their needs met. And those people lie to you and tell you that it's worth it because they're going to do X, Y, and Z, and it never happens. And I think maybe that's why as soon as she said that, I'm like, girl, she's lying to you. It'll never happen.
Yeah, I don't know. I felt bad for Belinda. I
did feel bad for Belinda too, because I feel like she should have asked for something else. I feel like she should have, when Tanya said, oh, I can help you. I can pay for it, blah, blah, blah. I feel like Belinda should have said, can you hire a business consultant for me who will help me formulate the plan? That way, she wouldn't have to rely on Tanya's whims because she has someone who can help her. And when she didn't do it, immediately Belinda would have known, oh, she's not serious and I need to stop wasting my time. Because Belinda is there from morning to night. Managers, hospitality managers, We had
long
the
hours.
worst hours. Like, there's no such thing as holiday. There's no such thing as weekends. Like, you have to be on call 24/7. The thing I love most about my job is when 8 hours hit, it does not matter. I could be in the middle of something. Okay, well, gotta go. I'll pick it up tomorrow. Nothing is life or death.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing is life or death. And in hospitality, everything is life or death. Three
Yeah.
o'clock in the morning, oh, the water went out. Well, I'm not a plumber. I still have to get up out of my
Mm-hmm.
bed, you know, even
Right.
though I can't do anything to make the situation better.
Mm. Okay.
So I'm sorry, my you froze for a second, but I think that was my internet.
Okay. Yeah, because you disappeared and came back.
So, okay, how did you feel about Tanya as a character?
Oh, I feel like she was a really interesting character, especially for the show. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, she's a mess. She's a beautiful mess, and it gave so much drama to the show. I enjoyed it. But like, I'm like, oh goodness, I feel for people who have to deal with guests like that.
She was very, very entertaining. Okay, new
Hmm.
question. Do you think they wrote that role for Jennifer Coolidge specifically?
Yes. Yes. I mean, like, everything, like Jennifer Coolidge, her voice adds so much to every role she does. And just like the neediness and the long drawn out words. And I'm like, oh my God, yes. Because like who else? I can't see anybody else do it
I
now.
cannot. I'm like, I honestly feel like either they wrote that role for her specifically, or once she was casted, they went in and edited like the script to fit her more,
Hmm.
because it's
It's so
like
perfect.
it
So perfect.
was the things that she, like the way that she says things and her mannerisms and her facial features, like I like she was talking about her mom on the boat, like and I
Girl,
was laughing, and
it's hilarious.
I'm like, this is so terrible, but
Mhm.
no one else is going to make me like laugh during that scene.
Right. And carry it off that where they're sad and mourning, but it is still hilarious. Oh my
Even
God.
the way she was throwing her mom's ashes off the boat was funny to me, because
Yes.
it looked like she was like the ashes were blowing back. And I'm
Throw it
like,
back in the boat.
can you like throw them
It's like,
like maybe not directly into the wind? Because I'm like, y'all got her mama ashes in y'all cups. I know you do.
they do.
I know you do. Like the way she was like scream crying, like
Mhm.
I was just dying. I was
I was
dying
rolling.
laughing,
Every
and
time
I'm
she come
like,
on the screen, it is hilarious.
it is. It is. When she was like talking to the girls at the
The
beach,
teenagers, yes.
and you like, we have all been in those conversations that you do not want to be in, but you do not know how to extricate yourself, and the person isn't being mean or rude, they're being nice, but you're like, I don't really actually want to talk to you.
No,
How
and
am I going to get out of this
I
situation?
certainly didn't want to get this personal this quickly. And you know
Right.
what? I'm like, I wanted, did they do that? I'm like looking at that time because those girls got on my nerves. But in that moment, I felt for them because I was like, I feel like people do that to teenage girls a lot. Because there was a few moments where people were having overly personal conversations with them, and I'm like, I just feel like I remember that. Like that's weird.
It's like they, like you want to, I'm not going to say steal their youthful energy,
Mhm.
but at the same time you kind of do want like that attention, and to rejuvenate you from like younger people. That's what it seemed to me.
Yeah, but I was like, oh no, these poor girls.
Yes. And like honestly, like they're not teenagers, like they're
No, they're
in
like
college, like
college
they're in their
age.
20s,
Mhm.
but like they do, like they come off as very young
They
compared
do.
to everybody else.
They do. They do. They give off teenage vibes.
They
Um,
do, because they're
yeah.
mean girls.
Yeah, because they're still stuck in that mean girl phase. Yeah, but
Right.
but it's still weird. I'm like, but it's still, yeah, that's still weird. And she wasn't even the only person that did it. She was just the weirdest.
Okay, so my question, do you feel like Greg, which is the guy that Tanya meets, is her retribution for pulling out of the deal with Belinda, because I just feel like he is going to either break her heart or scam her.
I think he's going to do both and she can afford it.
So you don't
No.
think she's his retribution? He's her
No,
retribution?
he would have to really scam her out of a lot for it to be retribution.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, one, if you get your heart broken, this dude is giving all the shady signs, all of the shady signs that
Yes.
that you can give. So, like, you seeing what you want to see at this point, you know?
Right.
And then she's got enough money to lose. You know, if you want to ignore all the fact that, like, he's like, because he came, he spent the night with her, he disappeared,
Mm-hmm.
gave all the vibes of like, hey, this is supposed to be a one night thing, and then he decided when she was trying to like say, oh, this isn't right, this isn't okay with me, and then he's like, no, I want to sleep with you again, and then I'm like, and then she sleeps with him again.
Mm-hmm.
Girl.
She's desperate. She's desperate, and I think he is, once again, because I don't trust him. I feel like he's testing her to see what he can get away with.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
mm-hmm. I just don't know that he's a con artist on the level that he's going to really get away with enough to really make any difference in her life. She's just going to get a bruised ego.
I don't know. Also, I think that like he feels like he's smarter than her, and that's not his fault, because she thought when he said he worked for BLM that he meant Black Lives Matter. And I think that just looking at him, that would not be my first thing. I would have asked.
When I looked at him and was like, he definitely ain't never worked for Black Lives Matter. I'm pretty sure he's against it.
Right. And he often said that kind of, he was like, he was like, Black Lives Matter.
Oh my God. Yeah.
How did you get there? Like, what about me?
You made that shit up. You really did. Like,
yes. And she even told Belinda he worked for Black Lives Matter.
And I feel like Belinda, not having met this man, knew that he did not.
I agree. Belinda was like, I don't know about that.
No, we don't.
Right. And she was right.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I hope we get to find out what happens, because I just, like I said, he made me feel uncomfortable, but maybe it's because I've recently watched a lot of con artist shows.
Mm-hmm.
But she's just like the perfect mark.
She's the perfect mark, but like I said, it feels like she's got money. So I'm like, how much is he really gonna get off of her?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
She's desperate, though.
If she loses, like, if this woman is like, we could take a plane to the next resort. If she loses a couple $100,000, she's fine. That's why. No, you know, this is gonna be a blip in her story.
I mean, and I think she said she's been married quite a few times. Mm-hmm. So, like, she's probably been like amassing like alimonies or like settlements as she goes on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she gives me money vibes. So I'm like, oh, she's gonna be fine. This man is going to pay for his next couple years, and she's gonna be fine.
Because she never asked how much anything costs.
Mm-mm.
Like when she wanted to charter the boat, like she doesn't ask how much anything costs. Nothing.
Mm-mm. No.
Even the business that she said that she wanted to invest in, she never asked her, hey, how much do you think you would need as seed money? Which is another reason why I feel like Belinda should have known that she wasn't serious, because she didn't even say, hey, I can invest X amount of money. Like, what is your like she only refers to me as I'll pay for it.
And again, like, that didn't throw me, because I think she's got that level of money where it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
but when people have a lot of money, they are honestly like a little more frugal.
If you're an actual business person,
right?
If you were born into money, you ain't never had to have a job, you've never run a business, and the money's just always there. You've just continued to amass your money's growing money. That it means nothing to you. Mm-hmm. She's the kind of rich where, like, okay, yeah, my friend wanted to develop this, unicycle yoga stand. Sure. You know what I mean? Because it makes no difference to her.
Right. Okay, so why do you think her character was put into the show?
Oh, I don't know. She's a very interesting character for the type of show that it is.
Yes,
You know,
like,
she's the
so
kind of person that
what are
would
they
go to
trying
that
to
kind of
tell?
resort.
What story are they trying to tell?
Um, I don't know. Like, just, I mean, I guess like how rich people interact with the rest of the world. I don't know. Like, but she definitely seems like to me the kind of person that would go to that kind of resort.
Yes,
You know, and like, and to me, it was also odd that you would go to a resort to spread your mom's ashes and not just charter a boat.
I agree.
Hmm.
I do agree. Maybe she was looking to meet a man. I don't know. I think because I feel like each like set of guests
Hmm.
are telling a different story. Like there's some like they interact, but I think they're each telling a story. And I honestly feel like her story is about how people like push boundaries and how they
Hmm.
will take people who have so much will take
Oh,
from
still
people who
take from
have so
everybody else.
little,
Hmm.
you
I can see
know.
that.
Because all Belinda has is who she is, which is essentially like a healer.
Hmm.
And I feel like in the time that Tanya was there, she tried to wring as much out of Belinda,
She did. She
to
absolutely
absorb
did.
as much from her as she can, and gave her all of these false promises. And yes, she did end up like giving her like that envelope full of money. I still feel like Tanya came out ahead.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So I honestly feel like that was what they were saying. It was
Hmm.
like almost like a cautionary tale of understanding what real currency is,
Hmm.
and it's not necessarily money. Because Tanya came with all the money in the world, and you could not find someone who was more miserable, more empty, searching for love, searching for meaning, searching for happiness.
Hmm. Connection, but in the most usury kind of way.
Right. And so once again, instead of doing the deep work in healing, now she's got attention from Greg, a man, and okay, everything is all good. Until what happens when that situation goes wrong, she's back in that same like place of despair.
Hmm.
And what is she's going to be looking back, looking, who knows, maybe she'll go to Tibet next time, and try to buy a monk or something.
Right. I was gonna say, she'll just buy another one.
Like I there's a amount of pity.
Hmm.
I have a certain amount of pity towards her. I don't
Hmm.
know if it's because Jennifer Coolidge makes her character likable,
She
you
does.
know,
That's true.
even in her like even though she's a terrible person, she's a likable character.
Hmm.
And I'm invested in her healing
Hmm.
because I'm like, oh man, like who would she be healed?
I don't know if she'll ever get there, and I don't know if White Lotus is like giving any kind of resolution for any of the characters. Because to me, like they start miserable, they end miserable. You know what I mean?
True,
Like they don't
true.
develop in that way.
Yes, and I think I figured that out after my second watch that
Hmm.
you're not, this is not you're not going to get closure.
Hmm.
Like just watch the story and learn what you can from the story, but we're not tying anything up in a neat little bow.
No, and I mean, and while you do get like you develop they do develop them like in that you understand more about them and who they are, but they don't have like a redemption arc. Like they're not going to get better as people.
Right, right. Because I mean, I honestly like that's really not realistic.
Hmm.
That one like you start a vacation as a terrible person, and at the end
Hmm.
of it you're no longer a terrible person. Terrible people go on vacation all the time and still come back
Yeah,
terrible.
they do.
So I mean, I guess it's in that sense I think I'm just used to TV,
Hmm.
and I'm asking myself, okay, what kind of story are they telling? But didn't we learn from the TV show The Resort,
Hmm.
like what a story is? And a story doesn't necessarily have to have a beginning, middle, and end, or it doesn't have to explain itself.
Hmm.
Sometimes you just get a glimpse into someone's life.
Yeah, yeah, and I guess and that's what it feels like, a glimpse into each of their lives.
Right. And I like it.
Mhm.
I like it because it's something different. And I think it challenges my views on what TV should and should not be.
Mhm. Or what
I
it
mean,
could
TV,
be.
right? I guess I'm like TV can be anything, but
Mhm.
I just once again I like it when people take chances.
Mhm.
I like it
Do
when
something
people
different.
do something different. And although I was really shocked when season 2 started and I didn't recognize anybody on the boat, that was probably the best thing for me. You know,
Yeah.
because I watch. I'm currently watching The Handmaid's Tale, so like
Girl, no, I
each
give up.
season there's like the same. We've been following the same people and the same story, so yeah, I need something different.
Mhm.
I have yet. I never fully catch up because I always start back from the beginning, and it gets
Mhm.
to be too much,
Yeah.
and I have to take breaks, and then the break is like a year long.
Mhm.
And I always start back from the beginning, but I've gotten farther than I've ever gotten before.
Mm-mm.
So I'm on season 4. And so I'm feeling very proud of myself that
I'm proud of you too.
I'm
I will
pushing
never get
past.
to season 4. Because I'm like, listen, I
It's
read the
so
book
much.
so many years ago in college. Um, and
Yes,
that was not as traumatizing as this show. So I'm like, I've read
absolutely.
the
I
entire book.
even
Like, the show is so much more traumatizing. And I'm like, you know what? I don't have to do this to myself. I love me. There's no reason for me to continue to do this.
I actually saw the movie when I was a kid. And
Mhm.
like when I look back on it, I did not understand what was going on in that movie at all. And
Mhm.
even now to this day, the only part I remember is when like the handmaids attacked a guy and killed him. And one of the handmaids was like, I think I got a piece of his ear. And I like carry that memory with me from childhood, but I don't remember anything like about the rest of the movie. And I really don't I know I did not have an understanding of what that movie was about.
Mhm. So
And
like I think we
so
did one of those things where we read the book in class and then we watched the movie. But all I remember is Serena Lovejoy talking to Alfred and smoking. That's the only scene that I remember.
yeah, I just this show is so it's so it's so violent and it's so traumatic and it's so triggering, but at the same time it's like we are like a stone's throw away, and
Mhm.
so I'm like I need to watch it. I need to
Mhm.
watch it. But I'm sorry, you know me, I've drifted off. But I
Yeah.
think, is there any other like themes as it pertains to like Tanya
Go
that
back to
you
Mama
want to?
Tanya.
Oh,
Um,
I'm sorry, Tanya. Are there other
no,
themes that you
actually, I
want
think
to?
we did it. I think that's kind of it for me with
Yeah,
Tanya.
of all the three, like her story is like the lightest.
Hmm.
And so like as we go in, we'll like dig deeper and deeper into like kind of like the thematic elements. But I think that was like a her story is kind of like an appetizer
Hmm.
into like the stories of the show.
I agree.
All right, guys. We hope you enjoyed this episode. We'll look forward to the next episode where we're going to continue to discuss the White Lotus.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
I'm ready for the next episode. I can't wait to get home and turn my TV on. I'm ready for the next episode. Got my snap shoes off, my remote control. I'm ready for the next episode.